Welcome to the Sons of Liberty podcast with Sam and Hunter. How we doing, everybody? Welcome into Studio Z, where it is very hot in here. Dad, that fan might make noise. I don't know. If it does, just turn it off at some point. But super hot in here. Some say it's hotter than Auschwitz. Others say that's racist and deplorable that I'd even make that joke. So I'm going to retract that immediately. And today we're just going to do a general pod. We're doing a general pod. You know, it's been a while for the Sons of Liberty homies, for the Sam and Hunter fan boys and girls. I know there's many fan clubs across this beautiful state of Massachusetts and the nation. And we're just going to do a pod, man. We're going to hash things out. We're going to chat. There's a crazy gun bill that just got signed by our lovely governess Maura Healey in Massachusetts. We'll talk about that. You know, we just had a Turning Point USA event on Cape Cod with Dr. James Lindsay. We'll talk about that. And I don't know, Hunter, how are you doing today?
I'm trying to bring the guns out in protest of Maura Healey's new bill. There's some gun control going on here. So it's been a busy month. Our president got shot. Not by these guns, though, because if he was shot by these guns, he would have been dead already. As a woman for Trump, I'm absolutely appalled at the condition of our state. Because of my attractiveness, I'm always at a threat to be raped. And now, how am I going to protect myself from being raped if I don't have guns?
Amen. 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 Hold on. So, Hunter, what's up with the Women for Trump t-shirt?
You guys missed a spot.
Oh, no. Zach, I need the scissors. That looks so good. So I mentioned it earlier. We're chatting about the gun bill, H.4885. Did I say that right? H.4885 that just got signed by Maura Healey. The House kind of reconstructed it. The Senate had done their own version of the bill. House reconstructed it. Now Maura Healey signed it. And it's not as terrible as the HD 4420 was back last summer. The HD 4420 was a huge violation of the Massachusetts citizens' right to keep and bear arms. And we had a podcast with our good friend Toby Leary over at Cape Gunworks. He's got a great YouTube channel. Go to Cape Gunworks. If you guys have been with the podcast since the beginning, you would have seen episode 2. We had Toby Leary on the podcast. It got like a couple thousand views, our most viewed podcast. And in the past 4 days, something like that, it's gotten over 5,000 views. It's up to almost 8,000 views, I think, which is absolutely insane. And I feel a little bad because it's all the new traffic around the video is because everyone's interested in the gun bill that just got passed. And I feel a little bad because I feel like we're misleading people because we were talking about a completely different bill with Toby Leary on that podcast, and it's got so many views. And I have a feeling a lot of people are thinking that what Maura Healey just signed is what we were talking about in that video. So hopefully we were clear enough that people aren't confused. But we want to do a follow-up pod with Toby just so we can kind of like break down the specifics, because while we both are very pro Second Amendment, I don't really know anything about guns, and there's a lot of terms that I don't understand. So, you know,
plus we're not,
I can be pro, you know, killing Osama bin Laden, but doesn't mean I know how to be a Navy SEAL. You know, it's like, that was a terrible metaphor, but you get what I'm trying to say.
No, it's a great metaphor. Plus, in the free state of Massachusetts, we can't even concealed carry until we're 21 because of how debaucherous our laws are here. And based off of this rate, I don't even know if we're going to make it to 20. I don't even know if we're going to make it to concealed carry. We might even make it to 21. They might just take that away by the time we get there.
Who knows? Who knows? I'm just glad I got my FID last year. Because now part of the, we'll go through the specifics, but part of the training, but the required training on the new bill is that you have to, in order to get your LTC or FID or anything, you have to do live fire training. Like, not only do you have to take classes, but now you have to like actually go and shoot guns to some level, which is funny that the bill is encouraging people to go use firearms. That's funny to me. I get what their intent, but I just think that's a little silly.
I mean, we were covering it. Sons of Liberty were on it from the beginning. And if you remember, we did the video talking about the Agawam police chief who helped write this bill. So you would assume, a police chief assisted in it. You know, the bill's probably going to be reasonable and fine. And, you know, they came out with this crazy radical legislation, but eventually when it gets to the governor's table, the governess's table, that it'll be better. And we will find out based off of the information Sam has in Sam's laptop, not Hunter's laptop.
Where is your laptop? Oh, I get it. That was funny.
It's being fixed, repaired right now.
Is it? Don't leave it there. Gotta remember to don't forget to pick it up. So I guess the House got back to basically had a consensus on the bill because the one that the Agawam police chief helped draft was HD 4139. That was their version of House bill. So basically 4420 got passed, and then it went through some different, I think it had a bunch of different names in the House, you know, because there were amendments added. It was so egregious, like literally zero grandfathering provisions in HD 4420 to the point where like basically if the bill got passed, they would just come if you owned one of the guns that they declared illegal, they just come to your house and take it. Which I don't know how you enforce that. Like every town in Massachusetts said they weren't going to enforce it.
And it's so interesting how much like they changed the names of these bills faster than they changed genders, which is pretty interesting. It's a communist trick to. So you don't. It's what number are we on now? Forget about it.
Yeah, I mean it started as over 100 pages of gun grab legislation, and to H.4885 is 100 something, a little over 160 pages of pure gun grab legislation, banning ghost guns, which is just unserialized firearms, and I think the name of the bill is something like trying to prevent more violence in Massachusetts. I don't know. They always mask it as to be something that it isn't actually doing.
It sounds cute.
There we go. It sounds cute.
Cute, pretty, you know, safe, legal, and rare. All that.
Oh my gosh! But you have to remember, just when you see all of this gun grab legislation, as you're reading all of these specific details of, we're banning pistol grips and certain triggers, and, you know, this, I'm showing my lack of knowledge of guns because all these different terms of guns, it's like, why are you choosing those specific features? Well, you have to remember, what is their end goal? That the population is disarmed. That's their end goal. So it's incrementalism. The right does not like incrementalism, but it has worked for the left. They have been patient over many decades to take away in this case, our Second Amendment rights, and they do it through these little things. These, you know, taking away pistol grips and
they've been clear about their goal.
Trigger things and all these very like aspects of a gun. It's like, why that? Like, they could say, because it's more dangerous or whatever. But like, I don't understand. In this bill, they literally banned a mechanism on a gun that keeps your hand from getting burned when it fires. And like, why are they banning that? It's because they're slowly and patiently just getting rid of all of the features of a gun before you've got nothing left. You just got pieces of plastic left. And you have to realize the main flaw with all of this is that disarming the law-abiding citizens is not going to stop the bad guys. It's actually going to do that if they are sincere in their intent to decrease violence and to decrease gun violence. These gun grab bills will do the opposite. It will empower the murderer, who was guarantee you never going to follow the law in the first place. It will empower the school shooter in these gun-free zones because now, well, I'm just rambling and now I'm getting into the specifics, but whatever. They've added, what are they calling it? Sensitive areas to where a place where you can't carry a gun, even like licensed, even LTC, concealed carry, everything. You can't carry it there. You have to be 150 feet from a polling place. You are no municipal buildings, town buildings, public building, like no public offices of any kind, which just opens yourself up to political violence. If a lawmaker can't protect himself like that, if
they've got private security.
Well, no, I'm saying no on a town level, on a municipal level. You're not having bodyguards with town people on a municipal level.
Well, they'll start adding that to their budgets, I'm sure, and then your property taxes will go up. So
Amen.
There's that. That's also good.
Well, all I'm saying is that it empowers the evildoer and it will harm the citizen, and that's all you have to remember. Just remember that. Just go back to human nature. These people are not operating off a proper understanding of human nature. They think everyone is basically good and they're evil because of their bad circumstances. So if we make their circumstances good, they'll be good themselves, which is just a wrong. It's just an incorrect worldview. So if you have the correct worldview, you can understand that all this gun grab legislation is just grasping at straws, and it's not going to do anything.
You don't think Maura Healey has a proper worldview? What do you think her worldview is if you had to define it?
I have no idea. Our now, I would say, friend, Dr. James Lindsay, he thinks Mayor Wu is just a plant, the mayor of Boston. He thinks she's just a plant, and she's, for lack of a better term, in bed with Maura Healey. Friends with Maura Healey, and they're very close. So who knows? Maybe Maura Healey is contracted. I don't think
is Maura Healey a plant though too? Because
no, I don't think.
If you think about it,
I have no reason to believe she's a plant. It's not beneficial to talk
she's also
about her being a
smart.
plant.
She's also
yeah. I mean, she was a lawyer
for
right?
all of our. She was the Attorney General of Massachusetts before. Yeah. So if you think about it, like for all of our viewers who don't know who Maura Healey is or don't know much about Maura Healey, if you're listening from outside of the communist state of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, imagine Kamala Harris, but white, lesbian,
short hair,
and short hair. I think that's like the only difference because they both got places by not doing very
impressive,
very
work.
Kosher things. We should say for the children watching. So she's a radical.
She's a radical.
That's probably one of your worst.
That was one of the worst
impressions yet.
Never mind. Keep going.
We'll count it.
Dad liked it. Yeah.
That's the DEI Trump impersonation.
How do I fit any of the DEI categories?
We just lower
maybe obese.
We just lower the standards to make it so that we'll just call it a good Trump impersonation, then it will be.
Thank you. Okay, so quick recap. Quick recap. Donald Trump was shot on July 13th. 2024. Was it July 13th? It was July 13th. I don't know why that's burned into my brain.
Do you think
through his ear, the providence of God saved his life? The attempted shooter was a 20-year-old Republican that voted for Democrats. I don't know what that's about. Registered Republican who voted and supported Democrats financially.
He's probably a Nikki Haley voter.
He was also in a BlackRock commercial a few years ago, which is very strange. Interesting. We'll just brush over that. Just weird. Just a lot of weirdness.
Well, it gets weirder by the day.
It just gets weirder by the day.
Go deep into it.
Issues with the Secret Service. I don't know. There are so many opinions. And
it was an inside job.
Just people throwing facts from every which way. I have no idea. I think the most logical thing to do is to chalk it up to a bad DEI hire and lack of communication between DEI hire of the director of the Secret Service and lack of communication between the local police on site and the Secret Service. You know, the Secret Service didn't have a meeting with the local police before the rally. I'm curious to see I'd be curious to know if at rallies, do they normally have meetings with the town police before How many times has it not happened? Does it happen every time? Was this the one time, or is it frequent that it doesn't happen? A lot of questions, a lot of general things that I don't think we are prepared to answer, or, I mean, you can speculate, but I mean, it's like at the end of the day, Trump was shot. His life was saved, in my opinion, by the grace of God. And we move on. We're stronger than ever. And yeah, it gives Trump a lot of momentum.
That is now lost.
That carried into the RNC. An epic photo of Trump, him holding up his fist, blood on his face. I mean, American flag in the background. You got the little lady Secret Service hiding behind Trump. I mean, protecting Trump. Just a lot of courageous, wonderful things. And then rolls into the RNC, announces J.D. Vance as his vice president. You know, he's a mixed bag. You don't really know. He kind of, you know, he said one thing and, you know, said another. Some people love him. Some people don't really like him. I don't know what to think about him. I'm just going to wait and see. His rhetoric has been positive. He's very non-interventionist foreign policy wise, which is incredible. That's like the main thing you do as a president on a federal level, is it should be constitutionally, is deal with other nations. And he's very non-interventionist, which in this stage of our nation, I think that's a very good thing. So yeah, good things. That's a whole, I don't know. What do you think about JD Vance?
I mean, I think he's way more conservative than people realize and are starting to realize now. Because
he was calling for abolition of abortion in Ohio.
Yeah.
Not like a few months ago.
Yeah, he's on the Trump ticket, so he's moderating some of his positions.
Yeah, now he says he's for the abortion pill.
Yeah,
so I don't know.
But personally, you can, and even the Democrats are starting to pull the clips out. The thing he said about the cat ladies or whatever, how he said Democrats are just a bunch of single, childless cat ladies, and like that was their bit. Oh, how could you say that? Which is like just, I mean, if you're paying attention, I mean, I don't know why they are afraid to admit that.
Obviously, it's not true to every single person, obviously, but like on a general level.
On a general level.
Stereotypically, yeah, I think you could say that pretty accurately. I mean,
yeah.
Or at least if they're not single, childless cat ladies, they at least exude that attitude of being a single, childless cat lady.
Yeah.
That fuels their rage and anger and sadness towards life. But anyways, what were you saying?
Well, the thing is, this is the thing.
Yeah,
is
what
that
do
what
women
they
for
don't
Trump
what
think?
they don't know about,
Trainees for Trump.
what they're not taking into account.
That just get his crotch. Oh, okay.
Is the proud women for Trump that are out there, like me, who once this shirt comes on,
Oh my gosh. I thought you were going to say comes off.
when it comes off, it's an open bag. But when it comes on, I am a woman for Trump. And just as the Olympic boxer from Algeria knocked the competition out, as will the women for Trump. Because this is how Trump gets the women vote, is that the men just become women.
Oh, that's the greatest thing I've ever heard.
So I think that's
Did you just pull that out your butt?
Everybody's talking about, hey, Trump's going to lose the woman vote. It's 2024. We can't lose the woman vote.
We have the ability to never lose the women vote again.
This is true.
Oh my god.
And then you can also be like transracial like Kamala Harris, and you can be, Indian one day
Elizabeth Warren.
and black the next. And all of a sudden, we need to take advantage of the postmodern world and just make our
Play the left's game.
Exactly. But anyways, we went from JD Vance to that somehow, and I'm glad we got there. JD Vance is kind of based, my top constitutional scholar that I know that has sources deep in the federal government gave him a B on constitutionalistism.
Really?
If that's the word.
That's better than I was expecting.
And so that's pretty, and for like somebody who's that high up, that's really good. And you take that. Yep. And I honestly don't mind the fact that he used to be a never Trump kind of guy for
a lot of people used to be a never
the Trump ticket, because I think that Trump does need somebody sometimes who's going to be, willing to challenge his. That's why I was going to love Vivek, because Vivek said, hey, I'm going to talk to Trump. If I'm going to be VP, I'm going to tell him that I'm going to, tell him when I think that he's wrong. And I think that Vance has the
I don't know if he has the cojones to do that.
If he has the cojones to do that, well...
Yeah, he's not independent like Vivek is.
Why? Just because he has pretty blue eyes, you don't think he's going to be able to do that? Like,
what did I ever say?
Well, you're trying to say that
his pretty blue eyes.
You're trying to say that he's soft because he's handsome and he has pretty blue eyes.
I never said he was handsome.
But that's
brother's
that's
average.
what you're implying.
He looks just like you.
Average. No. Okay.
I think that...
Look. Vivek has a lot of money. Millions and millions and millions and upon millions of dollars. He's independent. He's built up an independent audience of people across the aisle. Like, JD Vance is kind of like nobody, unless you were in politics, you did not know who JD Vance was before he became vice president nominee.
Well, he had the book that people knew him of.
That's true.
He had a
Hillbilly Elegy.
bestseller.
Yeah. All right. That's fair. That
so,
helps.
Yeah.
That helps.
So he had it. The
But
Trump
still,
endorsement did win him Ohio in the Senate. Like, he
Yes.
wouldn't have been able to do that without.
Yep.
And he knows Peter Thiel or whatever that guy's name is, the PayPal dude.
Which you could argue Peter Thiel got him elected
Yeah.
because he just funded his entire campaign.
Yeah. But I think that if Trump is elected, which we'll get to that whole thing, after that he's in. And then it's kind of an open bad because he's vice president and he's the next guy up, presumably. So he can kind of, shape his own narrative in the 4 years that he's in the White House. Yeah. Like, Trump's not going to fire him as VP in the middle of the term.
Yeah.
And
my concern is that the way I'm viewing the vice president pick this go around is this is who we, as the Republican Party, not unanimously, but majority-wise, agree to endorse as the torchbearer of the MAGA movement in the future. Like, we want this guy to carry the torch after Trump. I don't see JD Vance as that guy because he's too much like Trump. The whole idea of the MAGA movement is that you are an independent voice who doesn't just go along to get along. But I think JD Vance is kind of just in Trump's shadow. Vivek is not like that at all. He's pushing the needle forward. He's moving the Overton window closer to the conservative side. He's asking bigger questions, more philosophical questions about our nation as an identity. And I'm not saying we disagree, because I think, I would have voted for Trump over Vivek if Vivek had, if it had been Trump versus Vivek. But I don't think JD Vance is going to be the one that carries it forward. I think Vivek is going to run again, and I hope he wins. I think that's probably what we'll do next cycle.
I don't think the country's ready for Vivek. I think that
Ramaswamy DeSantis, 2028,
or Vivek Vance.
No, dude, Vance is not going to be.
Vance Vivek. I don't think the U.S. is ready for Vivek, and I think that winning elections wise, it makes more sense for it to be Vance, because the MAGA movement is what has the more.
Dude, you're such a rhino talking about just wanting to win elections.
Well, I'm saying Vivek is going to be a voice no matter what, but I don't think he can win a presidential election on the national stage versus a Democrat.
Yeah, I don't trust his ability to, like, he's too much like Trump. And that's what I'm trying to say. I don't know tell me if I'm just repeating myself and you understood what I meant, but he's too much like Trump to be the torchbearer of the MAGA movement, because the very identity of the MAGA movement is that you're independent.
Well, I'll nuance your position a bit.
All right.
I think that he's enough like Trump that he can be considered MAGA, which is good because you want the MAGA momentum. But I also think he's enough not like Trump that he has his own opinions, and he's socially a conservative and a Catholic and believes in God. And I think that is enough for us to be like, okay, this can be the guy. Because I think Vivek is almost too much of a firecracker for certain people, even Trump in certain ways.
Yeah.
And he's too intelligent in many ways to certain people. I think Vance is more relatable, for sure. And in the same way that Trump is relatable. And those are things that you need. Like Vivek, if it was Vivek's policy, 100%. And unfortunately, Vivek has the last name Ramaswamy, which is, whether you like it or not, it's hard for somebody in America to win with that last name. I legitimately believe that. I think it's stupid that that's how it is, but look at what we're seeing now. People are going to vote for Kamala Harris just because she's black and a woman.
Who's doing that other than the fringe minority?
It's the fringe majority now, not the fringe majority. Well, you could call it
I'm
the fringe
seeing
majority.
polls that are saying, okay, we're getting ahead of ourselves.
Well, this is the
Let's
logical...
wrap up this JD Vance thing. I disagree. I think JD Vance is manipulated, will be manipulated. I don't think will be able to stand on his own. I think he's going to stay in Trump's shadow. I think he's going to run for president next go around and not win. And hopefully Vivek beats him. That's my opinion. And what stinks is that he's not really going to be doing much as vice president. So we won't really be able to see how he leads. Because he declared himself an abolitionist in Ohio 2 to 3 months ago. And then presumably when he started to hear that he might be that he's in the running to be vice president, he then switched his view following Trump's statement about the abortion pill during the presidential election, presidential debate with Biden. He switched his view from abolitionist to okay with the abortion pill. You could argue, okay, why did he do that? It's like literally exact same view as Trump. Like, was he doing that just to get, more points with Trump, just to try to be more moderate, just to try to get the vice presidency? I don't know. That's not a great start to me.
That's a fair point.
That's not a great start to me. So, he's also said things like, we're going to bomb Iran, which I don't know why we're bombing Iran and why we'd ever say we need to bomb Iran, but just things like that, like, all right. I like the fact that he says the hard thing, that he's volatile. He has that MAGA spirit. But I think Vivek has that all JD Vance's qualities, but just 10x's on the intelligence, the consistency, the logic. And I think he'd do much better. And he's much more handsome, and handsome dudes get elected. So,
well, I'm not going to debate you on whether Vivek or Vance is more attractive, but
I didn't say attractive. I said handsome.
Handsome.
There is a difference.
Sure, fair enough. But okay, we won't hammer this too much. We'll have to see. There's things that we have to see first, and we'll hopefully still have this podcast in 4 years. Donate down below.
Donate. I don't have a donation link. Start a GoFundMe for us.
Show up to my house at one.
Bleep.
Don't show up to our house.
Our house, dude.
Our house.
People are already thinking we're a civil union. You can't be saying things like our house, all right?
Who's people?
What?
I am a woman,
True.
so our lovely producer back there is giving us some jokes. Okay.
Yes.
So, now that we've got Vance out of the way. Kamala Harris.
Joe Biden. Oh, we could get into the conspiracies about Joe Biden. Does Joe Biden have a body double? Answer in the comments. We're moving on. Okay, Joe Biden drops out, gets COVID, drops out.
Whether he dropped out on his own, whatever.
Maybe
Joe Biden
maybe
is
just
no
dropped on
longer
the floor, and then they said he dropped out. I don't know.
Joe Biden is no longer on the presidential ticket.
Yes, he is no longer.
One way or another, whether that came about via
one way or another, he is no longer with us.
Yes. Correct.
So Kamala Harris has now taken the ticket.
She has. Dude. And, quickly, really good timing. I think, okay, we'll go down one rabbit hole really quick. Make sure to bring me back, okay?
Okay.
I think that what they wanted to do with Trump, if Trump never got shot, what they wanted to do, they were going to keep Biden on the ticket for as long as they possibly could. And then, last minute, do a bait and switch with Kamala Harris. And that would give the media enough time to push out their narrative and for there to be no counter narrative back towards it.
Yeah.
And
I see that.
And you can see that now is, to bring it back out of the rabbit hole, the media narrative is all for Kamala. All the momentum is seemingly for Kamala. All of it. If you've been paying attention,
the mainstream media,
yeah, in the mainstream media and everything,
well, it was never for Trump.
Mainstream media. Well, after the shooting, it was for Trump, 100%, based off of the polls and based off of everything. After the debate and after the shooting,
you're conflating two things. You're conflating polls and
both.
media.
I'm saying it's combined. Everything combined together.
Okay.
The after the debate and after the shooting,
You're saying ABC started promoting Trump.
not promoting. No, they were never going to promote him, but they were down on Biden because Biden was the nominee and they weren't saying favorable things about Biden.
Okay.
And so just by that right there, Trump had momentum
All right.
because Biden was in shambles.
Yes.
And so now all of a sudden the Democrats are like, shoot, Trump has all the momentum. We might have to pull this thing off a little bit earlier or else we risk losing.
Yep.
So you see that now. The media scramble, everybody, all these things. They're attacking Vance. They're attacking Trump. They're saying Kamala's the savior. Kamala's a hero. Kamala is a great politician. She's a black woman. Could be the first woman and first black woman, whatever, president. And all that momentum is for her. But there hasn't been much of a pushback from the right yet that has had momentum. There's been no debate. There's been nothing.
Yeah.
And so I think that we've got, 90 days to the election? And I think, unfortunately for them, the way I see it, the media cycle is not going to be in their favor. Because I think once they get out on that first debate stage and once people are already starting to dig up, hey, Kamala Harris literally said she wants a gun buyback program.
Yep.
Hey, Kamala Harris literally said she wants an 80 to 90% tax rate on the most wealthy. Hey, Kamala Harris, was a terrible person.
She failed the bar exam.
She was like a prostitute in LA, basically. And that stuff is all going to have a chance to come out where I think...
first of all, those poor guys. Sorry, continue.
Good point. And so I think in a weird way that we could panic now based off of the polls because Kamala is leading the polls now, whether you want to trust the polls or not, because Republicans kind of like to do the whole thing where we're like, oh, Trump's up in the polls 6 points and take that. But we have to acknowledge when the polls are the other way and, take them for what they are, is they're polls and they're biased and they're kind of gay and dumb. But we have to acknowledge that. And I just think the momentum is for Kamala. You don't really watch... I have Fox News in my house constantly on all day because my dad is a Fox News dad. And he's still in that train of mind and thought. So I would say that the momentum is for Kamala right now. But I think that the pushback from the conservative side is going to happen soon enough, I hope.
I think people are still learning about Kamala.
Yeah.
Like, give people time. It'll happen.
Yeah.
The Daily Wire is producing a docuseries called Scamala, chronicling the history of Kamala Harris and her career and her shenanigans. Yeah. So I'm excited to see that and kind of learn more about her career and what she's done and what she's failed to do.
And she is just radical. She's the most radical person. I heard somebody put it this way: is what they're doing with Kamala Harris now, because she hasn't really been. All of her appearances are all scripted. They're rallies that she can say what she wants to say.
She hasn't done a press conference since she's announced running.
So this is their version of Joe Biden being in the basement right now, is making her only do scripted things.
Yeah.
And they're going to try...
Because as soon as if there's momentum for her now, I heard this from a commentator earlier today. If there is momentum, if there really is momentum for Kamala now, the moment she actually does a press conference where she takes questions, you're going to see those polls drop. Like, as soon as she actually has to use her intellect, it's just going to...
Oh, yeah, the laugh. We could just cue the laugh.
Oh, my gosh. Cue the cackle.
The thing with... Did you see this?
She's the cackler, dude.
But there's just so many, I think...
The cackler for
the
president.
Kamala memes are almost, better than the Biden memes, I think, in a way. They're new. We've had the Biden memes for the last 4 years. It's kind of gotten old. The whole Biden has dementia thing. We get it by now.
Part of you kind of feels bad for him And
Yeah.
it lulls you into just feeling bad for him and therefore not really doing anything because, he's just a doddering old man. Kamala, she seems kind of crazy. Like, maybe we should do something about this.
Yeah. Well, this is a question to move it along. Do we think Trump would beat Kamala in a debate?
Yeah.
I don't think it's that much of a slam dunk. Easy answer.
You think she's hiding something? Do you think she's hiding?
She's
secret
obviously
intellect?
playing stupid. She's not that dumb. She's not that dumb. I mean, she became attorney general. Like, whether she did it based off of,
I'd be interested to go back and hear her old speeches, or like hear her.
Well, her speech in public, in her speeches, she doesn't portray herself to be smart.
So she's just a bad public speaker.
Well, she's won elections, and the American public. Okay, let's see how offensive we want to get. Majority, like the average age, the average reading level of the average American is like 5th grade. The average American does not process things very well. Like, let's just be honest, they don't. Like,
Guilty.
People are like, oh, it's a black woman, I'm gonna vote for her because she's black. I don't know who's saying that. I'm not.
I really don't think that is most people at all.
I completely
At
disagree. I
all.
completely disagree with you. I think there's a significant portion of people who do that, enough for it to make a difference, and it's ridiculous.
That's wild.
So she plays to that, and she says, if people aren't able to question my ideas because they're so insane and ridiculous, and I flip-flop a bunch of times, it almost creates this like smoke screen against being able to challenge anything she's for. And the amount of people that will vote just because there's a D next to her name.
I mean, you could say the same thing about Republicans. Doesn't matter who they are, what
I'm
they
saying.
say.
At least Trump is like, you can understand what he's saying, and he doesn't.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously the media has their narrative towards Trump, but I think that it's calculated. I think that her stupidity is calculated, and she's been able. I mean, California's the biggest state in the country, 36 million people. She was worked her way all the way up to being a senator of California. Like, she's not stupid. She wields power and became vice president based off of only getting 1% of the vote when she ran for president. So clearly she's able to convince people behind doors that she's somebody. And if she's able to do that, I think she'd be able to convince people in a 90-minute debate that she is somebody that she isn't.
Yeah. I don't even think if Trump is going to do a debate with her, he needs to have the humility to receive a lot of information about Kamala and research, and like have his team like present, who she is. Because if he just goes up there and says she's radical, she's terrible, that's not going to stick, because people don't know who Kamala is. So if you just say that about a person that no one really knows much about, they might be more prone to say you're crazy, you're lying, you're ad hominem attack, you're just attacking her character with no evidence. It would kind of work with Biden, because we've had him as president for 4 years, and it's like one of the worst presidencies in American history, if not the worst. Yeah. So we've seen the fruit of the things that he said and his policies. So yeah, it's like when he says he's terrible, blah blah. Yeah, like we all can. When he says he's terrible, we can all think of something that Biden has done that is terrible. With Kamala, it's not that way. Most people, like, I really don't know much about her. I still want to learn. So if he needs to have the humility to actually learn if he's going to do a debate with her, because if not, people are just going to say he's, it might revert back to the 2016 debates a little bit, where he's just insulting.
But that worked.
It worked then. I don't think it works now.
Yeah.
I don't think it works now. The reason he was successful in the presidential debate against Biden was because he let Biden ramble. He was calm, even keeled. He didn't overstep his bounds. When he started talking about golf, he goes, all right, let's not act like children. He reined himself in.
Yeah.
It's silly, I know, but he's passionate. Dude's passionate about golf, whatever. And I had to learn what a fifth handicap or 5 handicap was. I didn't know what that was.
Let's not have you start talking about golf.
Yeah, no, I shouldn't at all.
The only reason, well, let's not get into that. I don't know.
So
Kai Trump, if you're watching, call me.
So that's the only. I don't know. I completely lost my train of thought.
I was distracted by Trump's granddaughter. I'm sorry. You were talking about the debate. We're talking about the debate, whether Kamala can beat Trump in a debate, whether Trump can beat Kamala, and you're saying that.
So I think Donald Trump could easily beat her in a debate if he was willing to do the same thing he did in the presidential debate against Biden and not just insult her and actually bring up policies that were terrible when she was attorney general, and bring up cases where she, as a lawyer, she fought for things that were not good. Because I know there are examples out there.
Yep.
Find those examples, use them. Just use. Don't have to insult people for the sake of defaming their character, but just bring up the things that they've done in the past and why you think they're wrong, and try to convince the American people. Just have a debate, and then just try to debate the policies and see, like, just ask her straight for out. But it's just, debates are so manufactured. It's like the way debates used to be was that you had, like, think about the quintessential debate, the Lincoln Douglas debates of 1860, I believe. Right before the Civil War broke out, you had Abraham Lincoln and Stephen Douglas, something Douglas, the Democrat running, and they're just debating. They're just talking for hours and hours. Like I think it went more than a day. They would get up on a stage and they would just talk back and forth for hours, and they would just have a dialogue. No moderator. They would just have a dialogue. And they would just throw questions back and forth, and literally families would, and then they have a break, and the families that go, they'd pull out their picnic baskets. Legitimately, this is how they worked. Families would come, they'd have their picnic baskets, they would take a break, they'd all have lunch, and then they get back to debating. Like that's what they did for those debates. And just to see the way they are now, it's just so manufactured. So it's going to make it easier for Kamala.
But also, that's also Trump. That's also Trump's
game. Debate.
That's also Trump's game too. Is the clips? That's Trump's good at that.
Fair. He's the TV guy. That's fair.
Yeah, and I haven't seen her come back with good responses to like anything in public yet.
So, do you think Trump could beat her in a debate?
I hope so. I think I don't know what is going to be the deciding factor. This is maybe a better question. Does that even matter? What is going to be the deciding factor in this election? Because I think that I think Trump kind of had it in the bag if it was versus Biden.
Oh yeah.
And
the Democrats knew that.
Yeah. But I think this is a toss-up. And I think we have to treat it as such.
Oh yeah, for sure. Even with Biden, going into it like, oh, we're going to win this is a terrible idea.
Yeah.
Terrible idea.
So what do we think is going to actually make the difference? Getting out the vote? Is it that simple? Is it just that simple as getting out the vote? Does any of this stuff even matter? I mean, it matters.
The national level, tweeting on X about issues on the national level at the end of the day isn't really going to make a dent. If you want to actually make a dent, the reason I say don't get comfortable is because of the election system. I'll leave it there. But if you want to actually make a dent, become a poll watcher, become an election worker in your town, a local precinct. Just do that boots in the ground work. I really want to do that. I mean, I may not be able to because working on different campaigns, but do those sort of things. Like my 80-year-old grandma, my Nana, she's going to do that. Like if she can do it, you can do it.
Or even
get off your butt and go do it. Go do it. Hey, you got to do it. It's getting worse.
Gay Trump.
You got to do it. You got to do it. You know what I'm saying? Like just do it. Women for Trump. Trannies for Trump. It's huge. Huge trannies for Trump. Yeah. Sorry.
Yes. I do think that is, I mean, if you're an average person, I think that's got to be, like, if you're a commentator and you're a media person, like, you've got a different role to play. But I think the average person, which we try to be like normal average people for the most part, even though we're from Massachusetts, so we're like elitists at heart and like we believe that we're like better than everybody. But other than that, like even just if you're going and supporting a Trump, backed state Senate candidate, that is supporting Trump, because if you're getting people out to vote for them, they're not just going to not vote for Trump.
Shout out Carrie McRae. Go check out that podcast. Anyways.
Shout out Carrie McRae. So I think that's I think, you can say you're working on different campaigns, but I do think that that's relevant.
Oh yeah, for sure. I'm just saying.
In the primaries coming up, like if you can get, a pro-Trump person versus a rhino in your primary, that's going to get the Trump vote out even more.
Yeah,
as well.
For sure.
So,
it'll bring out those unlikely voters.
Yeah. Amen. But it'll be interesting to see who her vice president.
Generally, technically, it's the other way around. Generally, it's Trump that brings out the unlikely voters, and then they vote for the base state candidate on the state level and the town level. It's generally not the other way around. But
we can make it the other way around.
We can make it the other way. Why not?
Why not? If not us, who? If not now, when? So, I think that it'll be interesting to see who her vice president pick is. The Democrats have a lot of plays there they can do.
Michelle Obama, Gavin Newsom, Leaney.
Nope, neither of them.
No.
They're
Pete Buttigieg?
Putin. Yeah, Putin.
Pete Buttigieg.
Not Pete Buttigieg. He's out. He's already out.
What do you mean?
He's gone, dude. Thank God you guys have me that actually is paying attention to things.
I'm not on Twitter, guys. I'm in the zone.
It's either going to be the governor of Minnesota, which is a swing state.
Oh, I've heard Ben Shapiro.
Ben Shapiro. Whatever Shapiro, the Shapiro guy from Pennsylvania.
Shapiro guy from Pennsylvania. Governor of Pennsylvania.
Governor of Pennsylvania. So those are the two that it's looking like. Tim Walz, or Mr. Shapiro from Pennsylvania.
That's probably their best bet, is just to do a no-name guy, honestly.
Well, he's not a no-name. It's relevant to the people in Pennsylvania. Winning, this election's 5 states, 4 states, 3 states, 2 states,
Arizona,
1 state.
Wisconsin, Georgia. That's what
Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania, yeah, I guess, but yeah.
Yeah.
I suppose. Dude, Massachusetts, though, dude. Well, I'm excited to see what happens.
It's just going to be,
Well, think about this. Maybe the Trump assassination attempt will bring out all of those MAGA independents that never vote in Massachusetts.
Also, but it's also like, okay, go out and vote. Before I say anything, go out and vote.
Yep.
But it is just suspicious how whenever there's a Democrat running against a Republican in Massachusetts, it's just always like almost without a doubt, it's like 65-35, like weirdly just 65-35. Like it's almost like the secretary who puts out the numbers is just like, yeah, it's probably 65-35. We're a Democratic state.
There are more Republicans than you think. If you want some hope about the state of Massachusetts, go listen to our recent podcast we did with Mike King, the CEO of Massachusetts Family Institute. He gave me so much hope for this place.
Imagine if we could get I would be ecstatic if Trump could get if he could get 42 or 43%. I would be like,
dude, that would be wild.
That would be wild.
That would be wild.
I would be like,
that means that those MAGA independents are coming out to vote. That's what that means.
Yep.
Which we're doing a callback to a podcast we did with Jim Lyons, the former chair of the Massachusetts Republican Party, and he said that there are twice as many MAGA independents in Massachusetts as there are Republicans in Massachusetts, meaning that there are 800,000 MAGA independents, which I am one of them, and only 400,000 Republicans,
which I am one of them.
Yes. And Republicans, not necessarily Trump Republicans, just like registered Republicans.
A lot of non-Trump Republicans, unfortunately.
And I think, and the independent vote is the largest vote the largest block of voters in Massachusetts.
In the country.
Well, yeah, in the country too.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys, it is a crazy time. I think we're gonna kick some butt.
Yeah.
But it doesn't happen unless we work hard in the off season. You don't win the Super Bowl unless you're doing push-ups in July. You don't win the Super Bowl unless you're doing reps in August. I guess there's training camp in August, but
yeah. And if you're a Democrat, you're taking steroids because you're cheating. But anyway, there's so much more we could cover. We could talk for a while. You can support our Patreon if you want more of that. I'm joking.
I don't have the time for a Patreon.
I would just say, trust in the Lord with all of thine heart. And lean not unto thine own understanding.
You're so pretentious.
In all of thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct your paths.
Amen, but you're so pretentious.
In all of thy ways acknowledge him.
That was terrible. Dude, you make my Trump impression look like friggin' Celine Dion.
I don't know. Celine Dion's...
She's a singer.
A queen, legend, iconic, Gen Z superhero.
What?
I would say, at the end of the day, the devil can scrap, but the Lord has won. Let's just do one-liners. Let's just do our segment.
That's going to be we're going to write a worship song. The devil can scrap, but the Lord has won.
You haven't heard that one-liner before?
No, I've never heard that.
That's from Zach Bryan's Revival. It's in.
No, that's not the line. It's the devil can't.
That's the line.
Is it? Oh my gosh, it's the line.
That's the line.
That's such a good line. Shout out Zach Bryan.
Shout out Jordan, because that's his Instagram bio.
Is it?
Leave it to Jordan, dude.
Leave it to Jordy.
He would have the...
Go back to the Suns are back.
Let's do one-liners to end the pod, dude.
to end the pod, do you want to talk about the 4Cs thing? I was going to transition into that.
Another one-liner that we could do to transition, as the gays would say, or as the LGBTQ, as
LGBTV is what I'm hearing. Is what you're supposed to say on YouTube now.
Is it really?
LGBTV. That's what Ruslan says. He's instead of it, because you're not supposed to say LGBTQ. He says LGTV.
Okay.
Community.
Interesting. They don't like the.
And when,
YouTube
instead
doesn't
of
like
saying
the Q.
No, I don't know. And also, instead of saying murder, they say delete. He says delete.
Yeah, you delete yourself.
You delete yourself.
Did Epstein delete himself? Anyways.
They're trying to be kosher on YouTube.
So,
I get it. It's
getting
fine.
back to real life and the things that conservatives need to be doing, because we kind of want to focus on that instead of being like a little, Tucker Carlson's based now, but instead of being like a Howie Carr, I'm just going to complain about everything that this is not a Howie Carr impression. This is a, I can't do that deep of the deep. I need to smoke like Newports for the next 10 years, and then maybe I can get the radio voice. We need to be doing things. That's kind of the thing that I've like been hearing through the Holy Spirit, through the Bible, through general revelation and other modes of experiencing the Lord.
Biblical transportation.
Yeah, is that we need to be just doing things. Like no more. Let's stop just talking. Let's stop complaining. Let's do things, and we are kind of doing it. We hosted our beloved brother in conservatism, James Lindsay. We hosted him right here.
Dr. James
Not right
Lindsay.
Here, about 15 miles south, east, west, whatever direction. I don't
East.
know maps. It's definitely east. At Cape Cod Community College in our home state of Massachusetts. Not the other thing. We had him here, and we
Go
had
to Patreon for the uncensored version.
we had
55.
We'll call it 180 people. We'll call it 200.
That is straight up lying.
We'll
We had
round up.
155
We'll
people.
round up. We'll round up to around 200 people at our event.
We had 155
Whatever. Hey, potato.
Tomato. We had 155 people. We don't need to dwell on that.
We'll round up.
I wasn't even going to say the attendance.
Anyways,
it was a great event. The crowd was raucous. James Lindsay said he's been doing this a long time, and there are a few notable events that stick out in his mind, and this trip was definitely one of them. We treated him well. We pampered the sucker, and he was a great guy. Had a great time getting to know him. We filmed a podcast with him that'll be coming out shortly. By this time that'll already be out when this podcast comes out. And yeah, so I hope you enjoyed that podcast. He's a wealth of knowledge. The guy can talk like nobody's business. I have never met such a smart guy who also happens to be such a hardcore conspiracy theorist. But it's crazy because he backs his stuff up with facts. And I can't, the only way for me to deny it is just to cognitive distance it and just be like, I'm just going to turn my brain off and forget about what he said.
Yeah, he's not your uncle's conspiracy theorist.
No, he's actually...
Because I'm honestly kind of a little bit sick of that the whole just saying
agree.
things
Yes,
as conservatives.
I agree.
Do that. We definitely do that.
Yes.
And I apologize and I repent of that. Even the whole thing with the Olympics that just happened, I'm not trying to go down another rabbit hole. We'll get there. I'm going to go back. I'm going to circle back. But anyways,
Circle back. Dude, Jen Psaki, vice president. Sorry.
Jen, the lady from MSNBC.
Yeah.
Oh,
former White House press secretary before Jean-Pierre identity hire.
About that.
Karine Jean-Pierre identity hire.
Dude, imagine we had to hear 4 years. I would
kill myself. Delete myself.
There is very few things that would make me leave this country, but that might
continue.
Be up there. So we need to be doing things. We need to be firing people up, like wearing a Women for Trump shirt.
That's going to turn heads, dude.
Do things that will make people say, oh, that's another Trump supporter. I didn't know he was a Trump supporter. Oh, now I have somebody else to talk about it with. Now I have somebody else.
Some girls would be like, oh my gosh, now I got a girl to get coffee with and talk about Trumpy.
I hope. If you're out there, call me. Side note.
His number's in our Patreon.
That should be a new form of episode, is just going to Trump rallies just to meet girls that are.
Do you think, I guarantee you people do that?
Go to the Trump rally with the Women for Trump shirt. I think this is the play. This is how I'm getting married, boy. This is all right. Slow your roll, pal. Slow your roll. I'm getting giddy, but not Josh giddy, because we're not pedophiles out here. Anybody who knows who Josh Giddey is would think that's a really funny joke.
I don't know who Josh Giddey is.
Josh Giddey was an NBA player who like allegedly
did some bad things
with a minor.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
But we're not on that train.
Back to where you were
Back to where I was. We need to be doing things, and we did it. We did a Turning Point USA. Get involved, like just do something, please. Stop sitting back and complaining. That there's, as a young person who likes to think of himself as somebody who wants to make a difference, there's nothing that, to be quite frank, pisses me off more than, look, I work on people's campaigns. I help people's campaigns, Republicans in the state.
Finish your point.
This is part of my
nothing
point.
that pisses you off more
This
than
is
what?
part of my point. There's nothing that pisses me off more when I go and I'm saying, hey, I'm handing out a flyer for so-and-so. She's running for state rep. Oh, would you like to take it? Oh, no, I don't do that whole political thing. Like, how, like, what are you talking about? Oh, I don't vote. Oh, I'm not going to vote. It's rigged. What are you talking about? Oh, I'm not going to go do that. I could lose my job. What are you talking about? Like, just stop. Like, just stop and think for a second what you're saying. How cowardly, how much of a baby, how much of a pussyfoot you sound like. Like, you're saying it's hopeless, there's nothing I can do about it, might as well just sit back and complain and cry. Do you know what that sounds like? You sound like a stupid liberal. That's so lame. Legitimately. Get up, get off your butt, and especially you, these are the ones that make me the most mad. The ones that have a vacation home in Florida because they're able to just complain from like their pool and it's 85 degrees out in December and they're able to just complain and be like, oh, this is why I moved to Florida. Shut up. I'm spitting now because I'm angry. I'm not angry.
Spit in the heat.
In your anger, do not sin. And I'm not sinning right now. Like, imagine if the conservatives, we should have cash-filled conservative. We have more money. We have more small businesses. You can use it as a write-off. Use your political donation as a write-off or something. I don't know. If you're donating to us, you can give us a write-off. Let it be known. Like, your dollar counts. Your vote counts. Where you spend your time counts. The things you don't say counts. The things you don't wear counts. It all makes a difference. And imagine if every person just convinced another person to vote for Trump. One person who wasn't ordinarily going to vote. I mean, Trump would win in a landslide. Be doers. Let's be the people who made America great. Because if we're going to make America great again, we got to do the things that made America great. And the American spirit is blood, sweat, grit, and tears. And, the great quote, from time to time, the tree of liberty. Something to do with the blood of tyrants and patriots alike. Something to do with the quote. So it's going to take...
America. Way to butcher that quote.
You know the quote.
You know the thing.
What's going on is it's just a bunch of malarkey.
I got the Joe Biden glasses.
It's just a bunch of malarkey, all the stuff that's going on. A bunch of malarkey. And when you do things, you will receive some pushback. You will receive all kinds of funny, hilarious, and fun things because life, let's just have a ball. Let's have fun while doing it. Shout out to your dad. If we just did things, it would be more fun. Life is boring when you're sitting on your computer screen like this guy doing nothing and letting me ramble on and make the same point 4 times in a row. Life is boring when you do that. So let's get together and do things. Amen. Do things 2024.
Okay, so basically, guys, we hosted, like we said, we hosted Dr. James Lindsay for an event with our local Turning Point USA chapter called Turning Point USA on Cape Cod. Dr. James Lindsay, Academia Under Attack was the name of the event. And the whole event was about how woke ideologues hijacked a century of American education. That's what we were talking about. And I think the event was great, a great success. Had a bunch of people, great raucous crowd, a lot of fun. And however, a day or two before the event, the president of the college that we hosted the event at, Cape Cod Community College in Massachusetts, he sent out an email that I'm about to read to every single student in the college. And I'm not going to even describe what the email was about. It was entitled, the subject was update on the campus event. And one of the students forwarded me this email. And let me just read it real quick. All right. Dear colleague, as many of you know, our college rents space, such as the Tilden Art Center, which was the building in the college that we had the event in, to external groups, both private and nonprofit, throughout the year. While the college charges a fee for the use of its space, it does not sponsor these external group events. Mild, fair, just clarifying. Totally fine. We have received some inquiries and concerns regarding one of these external groups that is renting the Tilden Arts Center, Barnstable chapter of Turning Point USA. I don't know how they got Barnstable chapter. We are Turning Point USA on Cape Cod. That's like our old name.
They misgendered us.
A nonprofit. Please be assured that this external group went through the college's facilities rental process and agreed to comply with all college policies, including our non-discrimination policy. The college is not sponsoring the event. End paragraph. So implying that people were concerned that we're going to be racist or anti or homophobic or anti-LGBT or whatever. Like all they said, be assured they've agreed to not discriminate. Okay. Oh my gosh.
They need to clarify is hilarious.
I'm just going to finish this real quick. Okay. We certainly do not condone many of the messages Turning Point USA has publicly shared, as they do not align with the mission and values of 4Cs, and particularly our support of our recent arrival immigrants, aka illegal aliens, who the state of Massachusetts is paying to attend Cape Cod Community College, and the LGBTQ plus community. While we support the First Amendment and civil discourse when discussing differences, we also acknowledge that much of the public content produced by Turning Point USA stands in opposition of those values. The organization whose policy it is to allow those who disagree to come to the front of the Q&A line, the organization whose founder and CEO, Charlie Kirk, does open debates at college campuses, where he encourages professors to come and bring their best arguments, where he encourages students to think outside the box, to think outside the echo chamber. That organization, that founder of that organization, we stand in opposition to the values of the First Amendment and civil discourse, to use their language. I'm going to finish real quick. The college remains committed to free speech, supporting the diversity of our community and the importance of civil discourse and free exchange of ideas on our college campus. As we value education, we continue to learn, optimistic that as a community we can be critical thinkers, solve problems, and resolve differences. John Cox, president of Cape Cod Community College. That
I would have loved if it was just the first paragraph and the last paragraph.
Yes.
You said we don't endorse them, but we love free speech. Why did you have to go
defame us?
Yeah, why did you have to go so extra? There's no need for that.
It was just a little silly.
It was just silly. We're not hating on the college, you know.
No,
they let us speak. You know, we paid them.
We paid them.
Tell them how much.
We paid them handsomely.
We paid them well.
It's like, hey, we don't condone this, but like, I mean, they gave us money, so we'll let them be here.
This is why you have to. If we didn't have donations, we would have never been able to have that event.
Shout out to our donors. Thank you so much to them. Yeah.
Pony
up.
I would say it's funny because part of this is obvious, like virtue signaling. It's like, you know, they're just
covering their bases.
Covering their bases. But it would have been so like this just shows that if there's ever an example of why we were having the event titled Academia Under Attack, it's this email. So I appreciate them for helping us prove our point.
Yes, and promote the event.
Because no person, like, in my opinion, all right, we're about to get really disparaging real quick. Are you ready? No normal person would like write that email like on their own accord and just have that idea to do that. Like, you have to be facing mounds of pressure by other people to do that. And like,
to some level,
even if it's societal pressure or like things you've seen on the media or cancel culture, things like that. Because I'm sure that they were worried that if they had this event and they didn't make a comment out it and that things went really well, that they would be hearing it from certain people, like saying, you know, they'd have Hamas protesters out in the front or things like that, which they didn't. Which, come on, guys, so lame.
So lame. Gotta be better.
Should have had protesters.
So much more fun with protesters.
It's just such a funny example of exactly what we're talking about.
Yeah.
And I think honestly that email was like kind of miswritten, which is why it made it seem like we were against free speech and civil discourse. I don't know if they meant it that way.
No, they meant it that way. It was very clear. They literally said, and we know that many of the things Turning Point USA has said publicly stands in opposition of those values,
No, I
which
think-
they literally just
well, I
stated
think-
as being the First Amendment and civil
Well,
discourse.
they also mentioned values before that.
True, but
such
that's not
as-
what they meant. That's not what they were
Well,
referring to.
We could debate about that, but it's kind of irrelevant.
It is irrelevant.
Either way, if not, it was funny that it's just funny.
I posted this on my story, the email screenshots of the email, and then I posted a little thing on my story saying, "Hey, I just wanted to personally thank the college for promoting our event. I was trying to figure out a way to promote this event to the college students, and they did it for us. They sent it out to every single student. So my hope was that it would bring some of the secret conservatives on campus out of the woodwork and actually come to the event. A couple did, which is cool. So, that was the positive. I, try to look on the bright side. And during the event, at the very end, I brought this up. I brought it up. And we're going to show the clip. I'm not going to say what I said. I'm just going to show the clip. And I think it was even-keeled, level-headed. Hunter disagrees, but whatever.
Wow, really passive aggressive there.
I'm sorry. I'll delete that. I won't say that.
Yeah, I'll delete that, he says. That's
delete.
I'm going to cancel you, dude. I'm going to hold that over your head.
Lol, dude. I'm lolling. All right.
We also want to thank Cape Cod Community College for opening their doors to us. We appreciate it. We also want to thank Cape Cod Community College for opening their doors to us. We appreciate it.
Look at me starting the claps.
The president did send out a mass email to all the students warning all the students about this event and saying they don't associate with Turning Point. So don't really know why they had to do that, but we really appreciate Cape Cod Community College anyways, and this has been such an incredible event, but all this we could not have done it without them. So one more round of applause. We really appreciate it.
That's all I said. Quick, briefly said I don't know why they felt like they had to disassociate themselves from the event. That was all I said. That's all I said.
Yeah, I don't think we should have acted like we were like surprised or made a point about that because
Can we be a united front on this, please?
Dude, I love a little disagreement.
Well, not.
You want me to be united? I'll amend my statement. I agree with everything this man says all the time, 100% of the time. Is that better? You feel better now?
Dude.
I'm joking. My bad. I ruined your flow.
So I think personally, you can say whatever you want. I think personally that was a level-headed response. It was a little backhanded with having them clap after I said what I said. But I was genuine. It was not backhanded in nature. I was genuinely trying to do it with class and grace, but I thought it was worth bringing up. So what? Maybe we never do an event there. It's not really my problem.
I think that if you brought it up, this is the only... Okay, I'll be honest. I do disagree with you a bit. I think if you're going to bring it up, you should have went all out.
No, that's not biblical. I was trying to do it with grace in class.
I think...
And basically, the point was not to say this to the college. The point was to say it to the audience.
No.
And I was trying to do it respectfully.
You didn't let me finish my point.
All right.
I also think it should have been biblical, obviously, because I believe in the Bible as a Christian. So I think that bringing it up in the way that you did made it seem like you were a little bit triggered that they did that and that you were surprised. I think you should have made it clear that you if you had said like, "Oh, I'm not surprised that you did this because you're a college and you have to cover your bases and make sure you don't offend anybody."
So
because I think that would have made more sense because the way you put it seemed like you were more like you were surprised
yeah.
And you were like kind of offended that they would do that.
So I'm glad you say that because that's correct. That's correct. I thought about it, and after the fact, that's what I was kind of trying to do in the point, in the moment. I'm sorry. That's what I was trying to do in the moment. I wanted to believe. I was believing the best about them, which
Right.
I think is a biblical thing, to believe the best about a person until they prove something wrong. So I trusted them. I had faith in them, and it seemed like they broke a bit of my trust. And there's some other things that just were a little fishy to me about the whole situation, but so I expressed that as simply a friend who felt violated in a way, on just a friend level, because I had got, never mind. So that was that's kind of how I approached it. I didn't want to approach it as just like, oh, the libs will be libs, like I was intentionally not doing that. And I think I was taking the high road by just asking a question. All I said was, I don't know why they had to do that. That's not a question. I'm an idiot. But making a statement, an observational statement, just, I don't know why they had to do that. Don't know why they felt the need to do that. And that's a conversation starter. It wasn't, oh, the left will be left, the libs will be libs, they're idiots, blah, blah, blah. I don't think that. I didn't think that. I think I understand why they did that. But I'm only going to speak to what was said by me and the president of the college. But I think that I was trying to be as graceful as possible, and I don't think there was anything wrong by what I said. I don't think there was anything cowardly or timid about what I said. If I had more time, I would have written down my words, but I kind of just said what I was thinking in the moment, and we had good responses from some people in the audience because of that. So
yeah,
that's my
I
opinion.
think that's fair, but I don't think I think in this case, like what the email that they sent out, like in all, like we already all knew they weren't endorsing Turning Point USA, and we weren't going to expect them to do that. So I don't think that it was that egregious, I guess, in terms of because it's expected that they're like, you do say that, we need to think the best of everybody. But it is expected of a college that they're going to cover their bases and not endorse. Like, we weren't expecting them to endorse us. So I guess maybe there's a little bit of disagreement, but that's neither here nor there. I don't think it makes if they were to not have us back at the college because of that, that says way more about them than it says about us. For
True,
sure.
but like, I get that. Like, I'm not, whatever. I knew what I was doing by saying that they might not have us back, but that's whatever. Don't have to worry about it. I really have to pee, so let's wrap this up so I can go to the restroom.
Maybe we don't want to wrap it up so you can actually go to the bathroom, but
dude, I'm dying here.
Cut that out. You don't get that joke. It's okay. It's been a good one. It's been a while. Hopefully you guys listened the whole way. If anybody listened the whole way, comment, wrap it up.
Comment Sam has to pee if you've listened the whole way.
Sure.
Amen.
That's somehow worse than wrap it up, but go ahead.
You guys, this was a fun one. No, yeah, I agree with you. It was a fun one. We covered a lot of topics. We got some good clippage. I mean, we're real with you guys. We want our audience to just enjoy the things that we like to talk about. So we're still, we're young. We're this podcast is small. We're young as a pod. We're still working on finding our audience. We're still. If this is your first time watching, thank you so much for tuning in. A new subscriber that subscribed after watching that Toby Leary video. If you've watching this right after that, man, thank you so much. We definitely support the Second Amendment. We want to roll out content about that, because we're going to be honest. I mean, like, the only way you grow is by creating content that you guys are interested in. We're not going to be like gotcha. We're not going to have a gotcha mentality of trying to like clickbait you guys. Like, we just want to produce good content that you guys want to hear about, and try to be as honest as possible and try to be as prepared as possible, which is very difficult because we're young, stupid individuals. So on that note,
this is true. And even though, and part of it is we do like to debate and hash things out, and we get into a little bit.
And hopefully you guys like the dynamic. I mean,
we get
comment down below.
The weeds there, whether the whatever. At the end there, it was kind of weedy, a little bit weedy, but not the smoking kind. It was just, we're friends. We're trying to show that we're real, even though we
sound really fake by saying that we're trying to say we're real.
Well, the thing is, the point is
that have to pee so bad.
If they find out that we're a deep state plant,
they can never. Don't tell anyone.
We know you're not watching, so this is why we said
no one watched to the end, so we can say that.
That's why we leave it for the end. But anyways, we love you guys. We love to have you guys back in the future, but we can't do that without you guys actually watching. So watch.
Appreciate it.
Do more, watch more, live more.
Amen. Thank you guys so much.
Out.
You don't want me to do the outro?
Go ahead.
Thank you guys so much for watching. My name is Sam Mealy.
My name is Hunter Michelle Young.
And we are the Sons of Liberty.